Hey heroes, that's my dad. Died October 9, 2020. There's a picture of my dad when he was in high school. My dad was a homecoming king, prom king, football captain, baseball captain. There wasn't anything that 17-year-old man, this man, couldn't do. He was a freaking champion of the world. He was a leader and a hero for his children. Very intelligent, hardworking man. But he was misunderstood. But my dad decided at some point in his life that he was an alcoholic, and when he did, he lived up to whatever expectations he set for that. Not to be misunderstood. I think his genius was still known by him. He was an organ donor, so he wanted to continue to give back, and that was one of the things that made my dad a hero to me, was the fact that he always put other people before him. That's why I started the Let's All Become Heroes campaign, to try to change the world, our society, the people that are struggling the most or have gone through the most life experience with hardship, left with financial burden, all the things that add up to why people choose active addiction, why people choose alcoholism, because they're suffering from something they believe they can't access, that each of us can hardly understand from a collective perspective. And only way to do so is to actually come to understand and know the person. And so because of that, I intend to write a novel. It's kind of a biography type of thing. But I want to write a story about my father. Because he was so misunderstood, I want to explain to people why he was a genius. Society can create addiction, creates alcoholism, and why people choose to self-medicate and instead of participate. And my dad was playing baseball in college, and when he found out, obviously, that he was going to be a father, he quit college and went to get a job, like any good man would do. By the time he was 27 or 28 years old, he was already a store manager for Walmart. But my dad's responsibility quickly became opening and remodel, or whatever that was. He would get into a new store, set it up, get everything working perfect, and then transfer out. So we moved around a lot when I was a kid, and to be honest with you, and I despise my parents, and especially my dad, for that, because it was always him getting transferred. So obviously, just like any good kid would do, would punish their parents for their livelihoods being tormented. But anyways, my dad was my hero since I can remember. I'm writing a story about him. I'm really looking forward to getting that out. His story, he died too young. He was 59 years old. He was a couple months away from being 60 years old. I wanted to share this with you guys. This is a picture of my dad, a little bit older, with my brother and sister. So Dad was 2 weeks sober and working on changing his life. The day he died, his BAC was 0.239. He'd actually fallen down the stairs that day and hit his head so hard that we didn't get to have him back from this injury. Losing a parent, losing my hero, losing my father was difficult. 59 years old. It all happened so fast, and you start to put those things in your mind. It's like, this isn't fair. Why is this happening? And you start to look at every little thing and say, this isn't real. It was also part of me just not being able to accept that my dad had died. So 2 weeks sober, taking interviews, still working on growth, love, truth. I'm sick and tired of alcoholics and addicts being stereotyped as these people of burden. My dad got to donate his liver, skin, eyes. Somebody out there, or a few somebodies, and we have 3 different people for sure that received all these organs. They're having a better life because my dad was a giver and he provided, and that's just what he did. Dad, we always believed that Dad had the greatest heart, the biggest heart, and so for sure somebody was going to get his heart. They decided, but his heart ended up not being able to be used. When I was a little boy, I was naturally gifted, as Dad would say, at baseball. From a very young age, I was able to hit the ball very well. Dad always said I had a natural swing. Dad was so busy with working at Walmart that he didn't have time to come to my games, and so he didn't go to very many of my little league games until one day in 5th grade, all of a sudden he was there. Now, I didn't realize at that time, but I hadn't gotten a hit all year. And so Dad showed up one day and he pulled me to the side, grabbed onto that chain link fence and leaned in real close, and he said, "Do you believe that you can hit the ball?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Then go up there and show me." And I went hit a ball so hard it hit the fence, and I got my first hit of the year. That was the day that my dad walked away from his job because he hadn't been to a little league game. But he made a choice that day to follow his heart. He quit his job. He's doing really well. He was already a store manager for Walmart at 27 and promoting quick and turn it flipping stores, and he would get him up to excellence and then move on to the next one. Like, that was his job. Like, who knows? My dad could have probably continued promoting, and who knows how far he would have climbed that chain, but he chose family. He chose me that day. He was facing something that day, and he didn't project any of that energy on me. He was there for me, and I got my first hit, and the rest is history. And the very next year became my Little League baseball coach in 6th grade. Then he coached my brother after that, and he coached my sister eventually. He decided he chose family. He chose love over chasing money. He was misunderstood typically by society, labeled a loser and different stuff like that, and my dad wasn't. He was a fucking hero. I think it's time that everybody knows about that. And so that's part of the reason why the first book I ever want to publish is going to be a biography and autobiography, because I'm just like my father in every single way. He didn't get to finish his walk, I'm going to finish it for him. I'm going to walk across the country promoting the book that I write about my father so everybody knows that he was a hero. Fuck that label about addiction or alcohol. Even though one of the last things I said to my dad alive is that you're not an alcoholic, and he said, "Yes, I am." I said, "No, you're not." I love my dad, and I miss him very much.